Few things to talk about today, but I want to start with this lovely lady behind me. I may actually be the slowest knitter in the entire world. Pardon me. I've been doing school, I've been hanging with my family, I've been working. I haven't had a ton of time to knit, and it's kind of killing me a little bit. I try and do at least 1 row a day, sometimes 2 if I'm lucky, but I got my band done, and I know you guys are wanting to see what I'm gonna do. This project is taking forever for me, but it is the first sweater I've ever done, and it is by far the largest project I have ever attempted. So I'm pretty proud of myself. Some of you are seeing it behind me and realizing what I've done. I decided to go with the burgundy at the bottom and do the big loop all the way around. It's like backwards on the screen. The big loop all the way around with the burgundy. I know a lot of you were pushing hard for a cupcake to go there. But I want to tell you what I've decided. I haven't even bound off. I just put it on some scrap yarn just so that I could get it up on the model to show you today. But this is what I'm gonna do. I love the burgundy. I think burgundy just really looks really nice next to my face. I love the purple up top, and just the Nomad colorway itself is gonna coordinate with everything I own. So that's a good thing. But I love the burgundy by my face. It really, I think, helps bring out, I'm kind of pale. I don't know if you ever noticed that before, but it kind of helps bring a little bit of color to my face, so I went with the burgundy. But the sleeves are next. I asked Megan Fawn if they would dye me up some mini cupcakes, and they did. So I'm gonna do these for the sleeves. Aren't they the most precious thing you've ever seen? Look at that color. So this is a yummy cupcake, a set, and I asked them to go light. So normally these are 50 grams. Fawn weighed it out for me and made it 35-ish grams, so it's light. And I think I'm not even gonna use all of this purple. I'll probably just get enough to get the blend going on the colorway on the sleeve that's already there, and then work my way through to just a tad of the burgundy right on the sleeve. I just want little cap sleeves. I don't want anything too big or too long. Because of my small arm, if I go too long on one side, I have to go longer on the other side to compensate. And I don't really want to do that. I'd rather they were equal. The right one might be a tad smaller, but because of the color, I don't want it to be too obvious. So I think I'm gonna do the right sleeve first and stop when it's the right length. And then I'll move over to the left sleeve with the other cake and maybe do a tad more purple and then get into the burgundy, just so that it's the right equal, it stops at the right spot on my arm. You can see when I wear short sleeves, like they're pretty equal straight across. You know, this, if I pull it down, it's not, but usually I kind of do a little bunch and then it's about equal. But when I get longer sleeves, I get like an elephant trunk hanging over my hand. And if I'm making something for myself, I don't want that. So this is something that you can do if you put it in the notes, and maybe send me an email as well saying, hey, I really just need a little bit. But I wanted more than what I would get if I used a self-striping skein, which was the other option, using just one repeat of a classic self-striping skein. That's another great option if you want just a mini evolution. I think I've mentioned this before in my videos, but really a self-striping skein is just mirrored out evolutions back and forth. So if you ever need just like a tiny little this big evolution, you can use part of a self-striping skein. The classics have smaller, so multiple repeats, and then the jumbos have a little bit longer. So it's a jumbo would be shorter than this size of a repeat, but definitely not as big as a small probably would be. So that's why I asked them to skein these special 35-ish, 30 to 35 grams each instead of the full 50. Now, if you did that because of the skeining and the time that it takes to do the math and get that all figured out, it would not be less. The price would still be the same for a set of cupcakes, but that doesn't mean we wouldn't make it smaller for you so that you can get the right size. I think this is about as small as they can go to do a full evolution that does not repeat. Any smaller than 35-ish grams would get kind of muddy with the technique that we use. That's why if you need smaller than this, I suggest going with a classic skein. All right. I'm really excited to get this thing done. I have 1 week left of class. My final exam is this week. So I've been working, I worked a half day yesterday. I'm gonna do the same today and just getting my study time in and get that done. And then next week, I can maybe spend more than 20 minutes at a time on my sweater and get this thing finished. So I'm hoping for 2 more weeks and then you will be able to see a finished product. I know you can all empathize. All right, what else have I got going on? Well, some pretty big things are happening with Twisted right now. We have 3 new bases available on the website. They are live. They are available in all of our products. So you can get them on Evolution, you can get them on self-striping, you can get them on solid. Some of you noticed that yesterday I sent out a little surprise announcement that the My Neighbor colorway is up and ready on the site. So you can get the My Neighbor colorway now on any of our yarns and bases, including the brand spanking new ones. I can't wait to see it on Svelte. I think I saw a couple orders come in with it on Svelte and that got my brain going. I think that I need to have some My Neighbor on Svelte. My Neighbor is a kind of rosy pink colorway. I'm sorry I don't have it with me right now. I'll try and have, oh, you know what? I have a shawl, pardon me. I have a shawl at the studio that I will bring home and put on my model for you for Friday. So I'll show you what it looks like all knit up. I believe the model is done in a Tasty large. So you've got the cashmere, which softens the color a bit from 100% superwash merino and gives it some really nice drape, but it would not be quite as soft as in the Svelte colorway. That silk, even though it's got the superwash treatment on the merino, the silk softens it just a tad more than it would just on cashmere alone because it's mixed with cashmere as well. So I just think that would be so beautiful and light and airy. Really, the color is so soft and rosy, like a dusty, I call it a dirty rose, but it's like a dusty rose color on the deep end and then a really light rosy pink on the light end. So it is a true gradient, but it's not just all one shade because Meg doesn't do that. So she doesn't really do like just pink to pink. It is pink to pink, but it's got some purples and some browns and some other things in with the purple or the dark pink end of it to make it really have some depth and some real, well, you'll see. I'm gonna bring it in and I'll do it for Friday. So My Neighbor is available now on our site. And so are our new bases. What else is going on? Well, hey, my kids' school district here in town just announced last night, I listened to the whole school board meeting on Zoom, that they were gonna start virtual. So that is a big news in our household. It's something that we've been kind of watching and listening to, and that's gonna be an interesting start to the year. I told the kids last night they need to each pick out a little corner of the house to call their own, and we'll get their desks set up and get everything all set, because I just don't think that having them do their schoolwork in their rooms this year, I don't think that that's a good idea. In the spring, that was a little bit different. They're both older. My son will be going in, he'll be a junior this year, and my daughter will be a freshman. So it's not like I need to sit with them and really work with them doing letters and drawing and all of that sort of thing that I did when they were little. They're pretty independent workers, but I just don't think it's appropriate for them to be in their bedrooms this time. In the spring, it was different. They were just kind of, you know, getting through, and nobody really knew what they were doing, and there really wasn't a whole lot of schoolwork going on. Mostly it was a lot of checking in and just finalizing a few things that were necessary, especially for my then sophomore, just to get him through so he could move on to the next grade. But this year it's going to be different. So I think we're going to set them up in different parts of the house. I think that's a good idea. Boy, with my finals going on this week and everything else, I just don't have a whole lot to talk about today. This might be the most boring Good Morning Twisties ever in existence. I just am really excited about these new bases. We haven't released a lot of new bases in the recent past, mostly because of the way our website worked. There was just one long drop-down menu, and it got really, really confusing wading through all of those different yarns and not knowing what the bases were and not knowing what the content was and the yardage and all of those things. But when I figured out how to separate everything out by weight, it opened up an entire new world of opportunity for us. So we are on the lookout still for new yarn bases that we can use. I'm open to listening and hearing what people want. I know sport was a really big one. Everybody wanted some sport weight, so that was one of the things we previously have been looking for, and we do. We have some sport weight now up on the site. But what other kinds of things do you want? Let me know. goods@twistedfiberart.com. I'd love to hear your suggestions. It might help us in our hunt for a new, fun, delicious, yummy, lovely, beautiful, soft yarn. That's kind of the standard. We do not do anything that's not uber soft. So it's gotta be extra soft, and it has to take the color very well. But what are you looking for? Different weights, different fibers. Right now, everything we have is a merino blend. We used to have an alpaca blend called Wrapped. That one was the mill that made it stopped making it. We dropped that from our lineup. But that doesn't mean we don't love alpaca. It just means that we need to find the right size, I think, to make everybody happy. So that was an alpaca silk called Wrapped. We've never done any linen or cotton or anything like that because the type of dyes that we use are animal, they work well with animal fibers, which is why the merino. But now that we are delving into the world of fabric, we are experimenting with different types of dyes as well. So, you know, maybe it's time to start looking in that direction. I just want to know, what do you want to see from us? What kinds of yarns, what kinds of bases? All right, well, I don't really have a lot to go on today. That's about it. I have to get to my schoolwork. I need to study. I need to get through this test, because when this last test is over, I will have a bachelor's degree, and I'm so excited. This has been a long time coming, and I'm just really, really pleased and proud of myself to have gotten this far. So I want to go out with a bang. I need to study my booty off and get this test done and taken. So that's what I'm going to do today. I will see you all on Friday for the Twisted News, and I'll make sure to have a sample shawl of the My Neighbor on my model behind me. Bye, everybody.